You got problems. You need to get straight. You need a therapist. You know what you need? A therapist.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to You Need a Therapist podcast. We're back. We've been gone for a minute, but it's your two faves,
Yeah.
Ray and Kay. Hello, Raven. Hello,
Hi.
Lauren.
Hi, Kay. Hey, Ray.
All right, guys. So for our first episode back, we decided to have a special guest, someone near and dear to my heart.
Your horns.
Yes. This is one of my best friends, Lauren. And we're gonna talk about some things. We're gonna get into some things. But in the meantime, we're gonna introduce her and then do a catch up. So every time we have a guest, there's two questions that we ask them.
Okay.
You ready? So the first question is, what are three words to describe how you've been feeling this week?
So, right off the bat, like I want to pick good words,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
All encompassing.
You want the feelings, Will?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Let's do it.
Not sure I have no feelings, Will. I have, so in the middle, that's the umbrella.
Yeah, that's
of
the
everything.
umbrella, and then boom.
So I know I've been on the angry, disgusted,
Mm.
happy, surprised, bad. So I know I've been on the bad side. So let me just find one that's over here. Stressed is one.
Uh-oh.
Overwhelmed is another. But on a positive note, because I'm not all the way, I'm not all the way low. Like I still
You're not all the way in the red.
I'm not all the way in the red.
Okay.
I'm still with all of that feeling thankful.
Mm.
Okay, I'm feeling thankful. So even with the stress, even with the overwhelm, I'm thankful that I am here, that I can recognize that I'm in that place and recognize that it's not permanent, that it's temporary, and that there will be other side. So that's what I've been feeling this week.
Perfect. Actually, I want to do it for both of us too because we've been
Girl.
gone for a minute, so we need to tell the people how we've been feeling.
I need to look at this wheel for a second.
Right.
Well,
No.
okay. I wanted to say, Lauren, even though you are on the not so great side of the wheel, you look good. Like, let's just say that. Like, you're making stress look good. You make it look easy.
What they say, she don't look like what she been through.
Don't look like what you've been through.
Thank you.
Let me look.
Okay, let's
Go
see.
next. Go next.
We have to do 3 of these, right?
Yes, 3.
I wish the people could see what the wheel looks like.
I know. We're gonna have to like post the wheel up on the IG page or something.
Okay, y'all want to see this motherfucker?
Okay, so I will say one word for me has been lonely.
Mm.
I know. Let's see. But not like too bad. So I will say another one is peaceful and mm, optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lonely, peaceful, optimistic.
And we can get into the lonely a little bit later. But yeah, a little tad bit lonely.
Mm.
Yeah.
You're not sad though, okay? Because I mean, you could be lonely and not sad, and that's what it sounds like. You're just lonely. You said peaceful too,
Yeah. Lonely but at peace.
but at peace
So,
on purpose.
yeah. It was one thing to be lonely and,
Yeah.
sad or depressed or something like that. That's
Like
not
you want some company, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
What's the hesitation?
she like I need some company.
The loneliness came from me missing my child. That's what the loneliness
Oh,
came
so you
from.
do need it. I understand.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
Oh, we gotta.
But like I'm at peace, but still like,
Because it's temporary.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, pick a feeling, right?
Oh, well, I thought you were still talking. I wasn't gonna interrupt. So I will say inspired.
Mm.
Um, inspired. Damn. Curious, or should I say inquisitive? We'll just do the umbrella word.
Inquisitive mean you
Interested.
chasing it. Oh,
Interested. We'll just say that.
okay.
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 And then I feel like this week is a different week from my past weeks, which is good because we're just talking about this week. And I think eager.
Mm. Those are all good things. And I will say that they're pretty reflective of what
This
you've
week.
been like dealing with here lately. You've been in your creative bag. And
And I
so,
think, yeah, that
yeah.
definitely, yeah, this week is why I feel like all those things because I'm trying to tap into that. So that
Well,
asked me
if
last.
you're listening, just go ahead and tap into how you're feeling. And this week on October 10th is World Mental Health Week. So it's a good time to pause, do some introspective work, look within, and see how you're feeling. Use this wheel. It helped us out if you don't really know how to like identify exactly what you're feeling, because sometimes that happens. So just Google the wheel or go to the You Need a Therapist page. We'll post it there and see how you've been feeling this week. Check in.
Absolutely. All right. So you want to go ahead and start catching up? Let's catch up because we need to, you know what I'm saying, get into some things.
Life has been lifing, but not in a bad way as of late. I think the last time we recorded, like, shit was almost not in complete shambles for us both, but I think we were almost, we were definitely in the orange, not quite the red, but let me speak for myself. I don't know what you was feeling.
No, I recently listened to the last podcast that we did, and
Yeah.
I had a moment where it was like, I'm in the same spot that I was in a year ago, and that did not feel good, which is why I'm like, I gotta tap into some shit, and I gotta break through. I gotta get out, like something gotta change because I don't want to have the repeat of year after year being in the same spot that I was the year prior.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm feeling inspired right now. That's why I'm feeling eager. It's because I actually want to shift. I want to make a transition. I can't keep doing the same thing because I'm going to keep feeling this way. Like I'll
Yeah.
have pockets of happiness, but like no, I want it to be a permanent thing, not just temporary.
Mm.
Well, I know it won't forever be permanent, but like for the most sustainable.
You feel like when you watched the last podcast, it woke you up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Was it a wake
Wake
up?
up call or
It was just another thing. Maybe it was a wake up
little
call.
fire under you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But
Um,
how about you?
there's been some big life changes. My kiddo is living with his dad full time now, and we kind of like swapped roles. So he'll do the school year with dad and then spend holidays and summer break with me. Um, that's been a huge adjustment for me.
But you need a break too.
And still learning, still figuring it out. That's why I picked lonely on the wheel, because yeah, but other than that, I got a new therapist. I got a man therapist. I decided to switch something up because typically my go to is a black lady therapist. I don't want to hear nobody else.
Have
I
y'all
don't want to talk to
What?
what?
have y'all talked about how to choose a therapist and how we usually try to find somebody we identify with?
I
I
think
don't
we
think
tapped
we
Y'all
into
talked
talked
it a
about
about
little
that,
okay.
have
bit.
we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little
Maybe.
bit.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
But I decided to do something different. Instead of going with a black lady therapist, that's my go-to. I decided to choose a black man this time to offer a different perspective. I think one of the biggest things with me is that typically most areas in my life are going pretty well, except for my love life. That's the area that I typically struggle with. It's just always been trash, girl. And we've talked about that on the show previously, but um I wanted a man perspective. I wanted to get someone that could possibly push me out of my comfort zone because I am comfortable with black women, and black women, not to say that they're going to always take my side, but there's certain experiences that black women have in the romance department that we all share that might create this bias or this type of, just one track thing. So I wanted to get like a different perspective, and why not from a black man, because that's primarily who I date. And So we'll see. We've only had one appointment so far, but the first one I got good vibes, and he looks like he's ready to help me figure my shit out.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and tell the people because typically I'm the person who ain't got a therapist. But I am seeing somebody right now, but it's
Thank
more
God.
so shut up, girl. But it's a behavioral therapist, and I don't know if we talked about the differences between the different types of therapists, but a behavioral therapist is essentially what the word is. Like they tap into like the behaviors that you're doing and trying to help you, I guess, help you solve it. I don't know how to explain
Like
it.
Come
recognize
up
the
with
pattern.
different
Yeah, recognize the
routines
patterns
or
of what you're doing. Yeah, and break
yeah.
them, help you come up with a plan on what would better fit your life and the goal that you're trying to achieve. So that's currently who I'm seeing. It's a monthly thing, but hey,
Is it beneficial? Is it helpful?
it has been helpful to, well, it's been helpful because like when I go see her, I release, right? I'm not a very emotional person most of the time. So when I do go see her, like I kind of just,
Mm,
and I feel some kind of, is the word reprieve. I feel like kind of liberated that I'm crying and just able to ramble and talk to this lady. She's a white lady, white little old lady, but whatever. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
yeah.
matter because it's just allowing me a space to talk because she doesn't, she doesn't detract from like anything that I'm trying to say or do. Like she validates my feelings and be like, yeah, like that sounds good. Like the things that I might think are crazy to say, she's like, no, let's talk about that more. Like, you know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's been a good part about it. But anyways, yeah, I'll cut that short. We'll go right into our let's unpack this portion. I have something to read to y'all.
Mm.
All right. This is, I
Let's
don't know who
unpack
this is.
this
It
shit.
doesn't matter. I'm an only child, late 40s, and began caregiving for my mom, who's now 90, almost 2 years ago when she broke her hip. I immediately left the city I was living in, about 200 miles away, and moved in with her to take care of her and help her with her rehabilitation and follow up care, and helped out for 6 to 7 months full time while working and trying to finish a graduate degree without
Ooh.
any family or other support, as there is no immediate or extended family, and my mom has very limited social circle, and mine is in another city. I've since gone back to living where I was part time and with my mom the rest of the time, and thankfully she is much better, though has other health issues to contend with. This girl doesn't have any punctuation. I'm wondering how, especially only children, have found support as caregivers. How have you created extended support networks without siblings or strong friend groups? I also wonder if, when possible, for both caregiver and the person being cared for, it's advisable to live close by, but not with the person receiving care. Curious about others' experiences with and or apart from the person they're caring for. I found my quality of sleep very bad at my mom's. I do sleep, but since coming to her space as a coming to her place as a caregiver, I feel like the quality must not be good as I wake up tired and also have sore eyes and headaches that go away when I sleep elsewhere. Has anyone else felt these or other symptoms that I attribute to stress living with the person that they've been helping?
Did y'all pick that for me?
Yes,
We
we did.
picked it in reference to the topic that we're going to talk about today. So, kind of, yes. Um, I'll admit that this isn't something I relate to, but I know that my mom is currently going through this, being a caregiver for her biological mother and her stepdad. So I see the stress that she takes on when she was working, but now she's retired doing it. It's still stressful because, like, you still want to have some sense of your own identity as well. But damn, what were the questions?
Can I ask y'all, are y'all both only children to your mom?
Yes.
To your
Yeah.
brothers?
Yes.
So I didn't even think about that. That's something we all have in common.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
It is.
Okay, so even if you're not thinking about it now, you will have to at some point.
Yes.
At some
You're
point.
your mom's only.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you remember the questions? Because I definitely.
I don't remember any of the questions. Can you please ask them
Did she
again?
ask?
Yes.
The big question was like, how's your experience been? But you guys wouldn't have the firsthand information.
No.
No, no.
This is a question for you to answer, Lauren.
Okay. So just so everyone knows, I never heard that. Like that was my first time hearing that story, that Reddit entry that she just presented. But immediately I was connected to the only difference. I'm 33, she's 40. Her mom's 90. My mom's only 69. But the part that stuck out to me, just on the experience part, where she said, "You don't get any sleep when you're there." Like we started laughing on that part because I was just telling Raven K, I just slept in the car.
Girl, oh my
I promise
God.
you, because the thought of going back into my mom's house for the night stressed me the it stressed me out.
Yeah.
I mean, like anxiety, like that overwhelming feeling that I was telling you about. I was like, I can't go back in there. I would rather sleep parked outside of her community. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in who not we're Thornton Road, Atlanta, okay?
Girl.
Then go inside there and not get any peace. Like the thought of sleeping in that car was more peaceful. And I slept in that car in the driver's seat, incognito. I tried to wear all black, had a black thing over me so I could lay back and like just blend in and maybe nobody go mess with me, lock the doors, set the temperature control, and I had peace. Moved every 2 hours, neck was hurting, had to go to work the next day and serve all these people, and still the thought of that was more
Was
peaceful.
better.
Yeah, it was more peaceful than going into the house. So I mean, if that's telling at all the extent of like how heavy, I don't want to call it a burden, but how heavy the weight of caring for someone else is when you aren't
Mm-hmm.
able to like find that balance of caring for yourself. I hope that would be a good um, thing to share as far as like how heavy it is. I would rather sleep in the car than to just to get a little bit of peace from it. But
Yeah.
that's why we're laughing. It's okay. Everything's good. I came to Raven's house, got a good 8-9 hours here. We're good.
You got your rest.
Oh, we be sleep.
We be sleep. She said how she'll get that sleep when she goes anywhere else. How the lady in this said it. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So honestly, I just want to go ahead and dive right into the topic. Like that was a good transition, but let's go ahead and dive right into the topic, which is honestly being children of parents, of course, and then transitioning and being a caregiver now. So Lauren here, of course, has expressed like what she's currently going through. But can we talk about like how this came to be and why you are currently a caregiver?
Yeah. I have not gotten permission from her, but she's gonna be okay. To
You don't
share
have to go into details about like her medical stuff or anything if
okay.
that is
If you don't
uncomfortable.
want to.
You know, yeah.
Okay. Well, what happened is, so she's relatively young. I told you, like, if you look at most 69-year-olds around, they're at least moving. They might be slowing down a little bit, but my mom does have a condition, OPCA. I'm going to try not to butcher it, but olivopontocerebellar atrophy. And it's a neurodegenerative condition. And at best, this is a diagnosis that we just have decided she has because her mom was confirmed to have it. But basically, it throws off your balance and your neuropathy. It just like kind of degenerates. So you start to lose function of like your just everything, your bowels, like your ability to like swallow eventually and breathe. So that she's at I would say like relatively the beginning stages. At this point, she's able to move around, but it's terribly slow. If she falls at all, she's down for the count. Like we got to call medical people to come and help her up. So she's not really at a point where she should be living by herself. That coupled with her diagnosis of pre-dementia, which is progressing, I would say pretty quickly, especially in the last like 3 or 4 months. I've noticed that there's been a lot of like gaps in memory, forgetting the medicine, which landed her in the hospital, very close to death, they said, because she was hyperglycemic, because she hadn't been taking. It was just a mess. So where we are today is she cannot live by herself. But she has raised me as a very independent child. Like, I mean, I think you guys all know me as a free spirit. Like, where's Lauren today? Probably in that other country somewhere, but we don't know. She'll call us when she gets back.
Was she
Yeah.
what you described like a very hands off
She
parent?
was so hands off. She was so hands off. Yes, Raven. And I'm not used to being needed by her really in any capacity because she is me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she is me because she was that same girl where people be like, "Where's Pam?" My mom's name is Pam. Where is she? And so it's a really interesting place for me to be now. With her depending on me, but us both being, I'm going to call us similar, even though, you know, I hate to say this, but it's being similar in the sense that we're hyper independent.
Mm.
So me helping her looks like me trying to like trick her into letting me help her, but and her not acknowledging that I'm helping her, which oftentimes looks like her not saying thank you, and her, you know, barking demands, and her like you just a lot. So we've gotten there because two hyper independent women have now, one of us have shifted to being literally, I would say like 90% dependent, and just navigating that has been really tough on both of us, on her ego and on my mental health. So I hope that answers it. That's where we are today.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was like a slow in transition? Like, was it something you could see happening, or was this like all of a sudden, or?
You know, I mean, when I look back at it, like retrospectively, I feel like it was kind of all of a sudden. Like, I mean, we look at pictures from like, but I guess it was 5 years ago where she just had a cane, and we were in Bali together, and all she just had her cane, but we could go wherever we wanted to go. To like, you know, just 2 weeks ago, she can't even sit herself up in the bed, you know, and I'm having to like make sure that her hygiene is taken care of. You know what I mean? It's like her mind is there. She's pretty much the same. But I'm just like, I look back, I'm like, dang, that was a quick 5 years. Dang, I didn't know it was gonna get this far. You know, wow. But to answer it even more thoroughly, my grandmother did. We said she did have the same condition, which we're assuming she has. And by age 72, she had passed away. So it does progress. I mean, toward the end stages, it progresses really quick. It's like you look up and you'll notice, like, dang, like it was going real slow. We didn't see this. And then boom, 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 boom. Now we're not walking. Now we're not moving. Now somebody's doing everything for you. So I don't think we, myself or her, thought it would get here. And it's just a really stark reality, like just a reality check for us that we're here and we
Yeah.
don't even know where it's about to go. I have no idea.
And I guess it's kind of unfortunate because you are at the age you are. Like the Reddit letter, the woman was a little bit older. So unfortunately for you, like you're still in your early 30s, and so you're having to make all these adjustments very early in your life, whereas typically these things happen when you're like in your 40s, mid 40s, where you have to switch and kind of change roles as that caregiver for your parents. I
Yeah.
know for myself, like my mom, she's about to turn 60. So this isn't something that I necessarily have to worry about at this moment, but it is something that I think about
Mhm.
constantly. Um, just like she's in good health, she's in decent health, but I make sure like you're going to your doctor's appointments, you're doing your things. How's your blood pressure? How are these things? Because these are things that typically, especially in African American families, that cause issues, later on down the road.
Mhm.
And so even with my godmom, she's a little bit older. She's 70 and she's like my second mom. For her, there are certain things that I noticed that her mom, who's passed already, had dementia. And I'm starting to see some of those same signs. And it's like, okay, these are things that I need to kind of be mindful of because I'm starting to see some of the same behaviors that I've seen in her mom. Now she's starting to show it.
When you
So it
say
may
be
not be
mindful
immediate.
of,
What
Kayana,
was
when
that?
you say be mindful of, do you mean like be mindful, like I just have to prepare myself? Or like I noticed you say you started to check in more with your mom. Or so do you mean like I started to try to like interject and like help them, you know, start to get it to like get a little tighter now
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Or is it like
absolutely.
both?
Being mindful in that way and just kind of checking in on them and checking in on their health and like how you
Mm-hmm.
feeling, how are things going, and just kind of seeing like where are we at.
Okay.
So yes,
So
one, I can, I guess, prepare myself in a way to be like, okay, when is going to be the time where I may need to start stepping in,
mhm.
you know? Um, but it's scary.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
scary. My dilemma, can I say something? My
Yeah.
dilemma with that is I asked you that specifically because I think that's one of my big um like internal conflicts is like, is it really my it because it's becoming my responsibility because of the way my perspective is like, okay, she's shutting down, so I have to like step in. My internal conflict is like, I'm having to step in because you didn't do what you were supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Mom, like you didn't get your long-term care insurance that you should have gotten when you knew that your mom was going through this and you knew that it was genetically passed down, and
Mhm.
you didn't take your medicine anyway. You know, before you had the dementia, you were eating fat back and pork, and you know, you were doing all these things, which again, so then the internal conflict is still like, but that's all that they knew. So then it's just keep going back and forth. So I'm like, so I have to show compassion because she's only doing the best that she can. So I guess maybe since I know better, maybe it
You
is
can
my
prepare
responsibility
yourself.
to not even prepare myself, but maybe it is my responsibility to pick up where she is now and like get her on. I just that's what's my.
That's how you struggle with
I'm
that.
just like, I honestly don't know.
That
And I
was
don't know if other cultures have this issue.
that's what I was about to like. That was going to be my question. Like, is it always the children's responsibility to take care of the parent? Do you think it's the children's responsibility to take care of the parents?
Ooh, this is tough. Yes and no. And I guess it depends on the situation. For us, we're only children, so do we have a
Exactly.
choice?
Who else
Do
gonna
we
do
have
it?
an option? Like that's it is what it is. But as a parent, and potentially being in this situation one day, like I'm going to do everything that I can do in my power to be as less of a burden on my son when and if this time comes, you know.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So doing things like long-term care insurance and eating healthy and doing things on preventative care basically, and having a good diet and working out and doing these things that seem like they don't make a difference, but in the long term they do make a difference. And doing the things that I can do now to be less of a burden financially, making sure that I have money that if I do need to go into an assisted living place, then that's one less thing that he would have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
feel you. That's a mortgage.
no, seriously. Or having to have someone like have to have your parents move in with you, like because who knows? Like you may have a family, you may have a husband, kids, stuff of your own that you might not be able to take another person in, have another bill, and get nurses and all that other stuff that comes
Mm-hmm.
along with that. So
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's the child's responsibility?
I I
I know.
I I think, like you said, I would only hope that my parent would prepare themselves or prepare me and put me in a position to where not a lot of these things feel like a burden
mhm,
or anything. But if something was to happen to my mom to where I had to take care of her, of course I feel like it is my obligation because it is my mom. Like who else
mhm,
is going to take care of her, especially as only children.
Mhm.
And I do feel like it's a lot different when, especially, none of us are married. None of us have immediate siblings. Like we have step siblings or half siblings or whatever, but none of us have anybody to support us in supporting our parent.
Mhm.
Like, so it becomes that's difficult. That's a different burden within itself
Mhm.
when you don't have that immediate support. Like you're doing it all by yourself.
Yeah,
And but yeah, essentially, like
it is.
I'm the only person that can do it. Like I can't just let her.
But okay, so me answering the question, it's funny because I know y'all think I'm gonna say no, it's not the
Mhm.
child's responsibility, but quite the contrary. Like, I do feel like it's my responsibility, and that's why I'm freaking the hell out. Because the thing is, like, with my mom, and I don't know how y'all's relationships are with your mother. I would love to know. Well, I do know yours. I would love to hear you, Kay. But
Mm-hmm.
my mom and our relationship, it was not one of like sisterhood or mother daughterhood. Like, what is that relationship? It was not nurturing. It was not like, come here, baby, come to my bosom, give me a hug. How's your day been?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing? How was school? Oh, you just had a breakup. How are you? Do you need to talk to mom? Like, it was never that. It was like, Mom, I'm going through a really hard time right now. She'd be like, oh, I hope you get better. Can you send me $50? Can you? And this is not just where she is now. I realize it now. I've just had a different lens on because I was a child who was a people pleaser to my parent. It's like I only knew me to serve her my whole life. So I didn't think about the fact that I was missing out on a mom figure. Right. So that now I'm coming of age and I'm understanding like what I would want from a mom, right? Because I've seen other people's mothers and I've been a mom of a sort in my previous relationship, and I've given that mom nurturing that I would have wanted. I've received it from my ex's mom. I was like, dang, like I don't have that. And with that realization, I'm like, but I still got to do all this stuff for this woman.
That's an obligation.
And because I'm obligated to,
Mm-hmm.
but it's literally going one way. It's like I have to just show up ready to just like pour out, and I know that I'm not gonna get like anything, honestly, anything back. I don't get anything back, and I hope that that doesn't make me sound ungrateful or like bratty. But I mean, like just the basic, like I love you. I don't hear I love you. I honestly don't. I don't know when I'll hear I love you too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm like, Mom, okay, love you. I love you too.
Yeah.
Like it makes it really difficult.
I want to ask you, like, with the dynamic of you and your mother's relationship, if you could set that aside, I guess, how is this impacting you mentally? Like the caregiver role, what are some of the things that you are experiencing mentally, and how is it like impacting you?
I feel like I don't have good boundaries and I don't understand my limits sometimes. And
Mm.
so that's something that I'm working on as of like the last year or two. Because I was in therapy, but they kicked me out because I moved out the country. But that was like one of the.
Ghetto.
I know.
Ghetto.
I'm not telling them next time. I'm be like, no, I'm right here.
Mm.
But that was one of the things that was a breakthrough for me is that I don't understand my limits and I don't know boundaries. And so I immediately started setting them, right? I set them with everybody, like everybody in my life got them now. But when it comes to Pam Croft, that's my mom, in this caretaker relationship, it it has honestly created again that internal conflict, like crazy feeling, um anxiety and like even like hopelessness, like despair, because I'm just like, I know now what my limits are, but you keep pushing them. But you
Mm.
keep, because it's not just her needing things, and that's what I don't know if I've made that clear. It's her demanding things. It's her not being grateful for the things that I'm doing. But then right after not being grateful for something, needing me again for something that she don't even have to ask me for because maybe she's fallen. Like, but I'm not, you don't have to ask me for that. I'm on the way. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
or just something like that. So it's just creating this internal conflict where I just feel, I don't have a better word than like crazy, which makes me feel like hopeless. Like, like where do I go from here? Because this cannot be my life. This cannot be my life, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll say that, like, from an outside perspective, like watching Lauren go through this, Lauren
Mm-hmm.
has been so gracious, like in ways that I don't think I could be. And I'm not even going through it. But like when she tells me certain stories, I'm like, Lauren, you're being so gracious in this because she is so hopeful. And like she was telling me yesterday, she was like, even if we have a bad day, I try to create like these pockets of like happiness within us. So like I'll try to do something to at least end on a happy note, like even when we're going through something bad and from the day or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, I don't know how to separate the two, like because
I'm
if
gonna
it's
have an
a bad day,
attitude.
it's a fucking bad day. Like we
Yeah.
both have to have bad days.
We gonna sleep and we gonna start over tomorrow and hope that we can get off on a good foot.
Exactly.
Okay.
She's been so gracious, and I only hope that I know she knows this, but like I think it's hard when you're going through it. So it's like, do I know this or
I
do
don't
I feel
know.
this?
I
Yeah,
hear you say it, and
yeah,
I really appreciate you saying it. But even at the end of it, even when she reminds me, no, you're gracious because if that were me, XYZ would have happened. I'm like, yeah, but I'm me, and this is out of character for me to be this upset
yeah.
and to be not like essentially like subservient to this woman. This is out of character. So to see her disappointment and her frustration and her anger at me putting myself first sometimes makes me feel shameful.
Mm.
Like it makes me really feel ashamed. Like I told you no because I literally had thoughts of suicide last week, right? So like I
Mhm.
told you no because I need to tell you no so I don't go back to that place. I need a minute.
Yeah.
You don't understand. So you're just like, oh, you just find fault in everything. That's a sentence I heard that she told me yesterday. I was like,
But you don't know what I'm going through.
you don't
Like,
know what I'm going through. And you
Yeah.
don't ask. And even if you do ask, there's no
You're not gonna
there's no
understand.
exchange of energy on whatever I've shared with you. It's just like still one direction and then
mm,
drop. One direction and drop. So
And I think a lot of like that difficulty comes with like her dementia. Like,
that you would like to think, no, that's
you
Raven.
see
That's
how
what
she
I'm trying to
said,
tell you is the problem. That's what I'm trying
don't
to tell you is
blame
the
the
problem.
illness.
It's not just that.
it's
Like
not
that
just that.
that
No.
happened recently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
been like this. That's why I was like, she's been like this. Friends and family, or her friends and our family, they oftentimes remind me, they're like, no, she's always been like this, Lauren. We all are just, we just know that that's her. We just know that that's Pam. And I was like, well, I had no idea.
That's not okay.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
No one didn't tell me.
Nobody filled you in.
Nobody filled me in.
Mm.
Okay, so outside of the mental impact that it's taking on you financially, what does this look like? Are you having to pay for things? Does she have some type of payment system set up from her job, or like what does that look like?
I'm gonna be real. Like it's definitely affecting my finances, but not in a way that you would think. And I've broken this down already as well. What's happening is when I come into town to care for her, my last long run of care for her was for 12 of the longest days ever, 24 hours, each day for those 12 days because she got sick with COVID. But what happens is, yes, I had to call out of work. But also after that 12 days, I felt like I had been working because I had been working. I was at someone else's beck and call, barely showering, barely washing my hair. And y'all know I like to dress up and be fresh and like put on a face, barely doing anything for myself, not eating because we're at her facility and they don't bring me food and her food all the time. So after that, it's time for me to go back to work. I'm like, I don't want to go back to work. Trip dropped. Somebody pick this up. Take this, drop, call out. So now it's not affecting me in a way like she doesn't have her own money, but it's like it's like I don't have the capacity to go out and grind and make back what I'm losing from caring from her or like what I'm losing from trying to care for myself. Cause I did just go on a vacation, which was supposed to be rejuvenating, but I spent money. And right after that vacation, had to take care of her for 12 days and didn't want to work after that.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm not able to recuperate. It seems like I just don't have the capacity, the bandwidth to like do it all. But that on top of the fact that I was also telling Raven, y'all can get sick of me. Maybe I should just stop saying telling Raven. Y'all just
It's
assume I'm
okay,
telling
girl.
her. That her choices. Now this is the dementia. This is not her from before. This is the dementia. Her choices with her own money are like if somebody's calling her like a bill collector and they're like, you owe us. We've been calling you 50 times. She's like, okay, like, yeah, well, I have the money, so you can have it. Like, just because I wasn't able to give it to you last week, you can take both payments now. Like, that pride comes up. Like, oh, I got the money. I'm like, Ma, no, you don't got the money. Get them $25 and have them go back
And
there.
call it a day.
Payment
Payment
plan.
plan,
Right. Don't be playing
collection.
with mama.
We're not
Don't
writing
playing
nothing
with
down.
her.
We're good. But her pride will not allow her to owe anybody except, maybe like people in her circle. But if it's a bill collector, I can't owe you because I don't know if she's thinking like that's the white man. Like, I need them to know I'm good. And I'm doing my head like this because I'm telling you this is how she is. Like, I have the money, right? Mama doesn't
Yeah.
know. So instances like that where she'll like pay off things that she should not have paid off, and now you haven't even paid your rent. So now you're gonna overdraw your account, and now I do in some way have to help, or now we can't pay for your care worker who's helping me because you've spent it at Capital One, which I'm just like, Ma, like, I can laugh at it because at the end of the day, it really is going to be okay. Because I mean, people can only get, including her rent people, can only get what we got. Like, you can only get what we got.
Yeah.
So ideally, what kind of support do you think you would need to make this better for you? Not even for her,
For me,
you.
That's a good question because I honestly just figured this out. So right now I'm living in Cancun. The reason that I moved to Cancun, I moved there in April of this year, was because the cost of living was so cheap. And given what I've told y'all already about my capacity and bandwidth to work, I already knew I'm not about to be making enough money to support staying in hot Atlanta. Okay, I know nobody say that, but seriously, it's hot. It's hot in Atlanta right now. To stay here and work, and then on my off days go take care of her and have no mental health balance there. So I moved because there my rent and everything, 400 all included, 400 US dollars all included. It's a beach, it's a beautiful town, there's fruit, there's fresh food. I was like, great. The second part of my plan now, with that understanding that everything is so cheap there, is that maybe healthcare here is also inexpensive, or affordable for us anyway. So I did a little bit of research and I discovered that it's within our means to rent a two bedroom, two bathroom house with a pool, and also get her an in-home care worker 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and still have money left over. Okay, so for me, to answer your question, the solution to all of this is to get a care worker, someone to actually help her for 8 hours, really 7 days a week, but I'll take 5 for now, so that I can separate, so that I can go to work, make my money, go on vacation, get my stuff together, health fund, just anything that I want to do, and come back and have what's left of a normal mother-daughter relationship. Because you have your care worker there. She's waking up with you, making your bed, getting you dressed, and I'll meet you in the living room and we can have breakfast that your care worker made for you. I'll make my breakfast and we can just sit at the table together. And I can ask you, how's your Spanish lessons coming along? Like, did you go swimming today? And we can have a normal conversation that's not Lauren, give me, Lauren, give me, Lauren, I need, Lauren, I need. So for me, if we could get that, it's scheduled for December 1st, her move. And I'm hoping that we can go into 2024 with just peace, no overwhelm, no stress, clarity, and still continue with the thankfulness. Yeah.
I'm praying that goes well for you and your mom, because I know that that's a big toll on you.
Thank
I
you.
know it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's bigger because I don't know how your family dynamics are, but I really feel like even though this is a strained relationship, it's still kind of all I have. I have my sister, which is not her biological daughter, but I have my sister. But even her proximity to me, she's in Michigan, and my niece and nephew, and my mom. Like, I mean, that's it. I don't have dad. I don't have grandparents. I don't have anyone who I would consider like super duper close with. You know, those. You identify who you are with your family. I feel like the traditions y'all have, y'all's interactions. I know you can speak for that too, Kay, because you are building yours up as we speak. So it's important that I have something good connected with her, because it says a lot about how I feel about myself, like how our relationship is going. So It has to go well. I appreciate you saying
Yeah.
Well, I know for me, I feel like I would be in a similar boat as you, for sure. Like I
Mhm.
have my dad, which I have them, but like it's not like a constant daily relationship. Like I know if I needed them for anything, I could reach out, blah blah blah. But still, it's not just a comfortable relationship that I would be like, hey, I'm not doing that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? And then the relationship that I have with my mom is estranged as well. So child, like if her mom was to pass away, like I think my life
Your
would
mom's
be,
mom.
yeah, if
Your
my
grand.
mom's mom, my grandmother was to pass away, I think at that moment I would have to be, even though nothing would be physically probably wrong with her, I think at that moment I would have to be a caretaker.
Why? Tell me about that. What do you mean?
Because I feel like emotionally, like if I'm being quite frank, like I feel like she feels like there's really nothing here for her to live for.
You feel like
Mm.
you have to be like kind of like her source of like
Yeah.
purpose for
Her light.
living.
Like,
Mm.
yeah. And that's a lot to have to be somebody's like
Purpose.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Purpose. Like that's a lot on a person to have
Mhm.
to be that. Because I'm still trying to find my fucking purpose.
That's the point
Now,
that we all missing here.
yeah. Like
Is that we ain't even caught up yet. Like we're not even
Girl.
caught up yet.
yeah. So now I
Yeah.
gotta be your purpose and then try to figure out mine at the same time. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So, and honestly, I feel like we're kind of going through that right now because my grandparents are in and out the hospital a lot, and she's been a caretaker for them. But I honestly feel like if something was to happen to my grandmother, which we've talked about, like they have not been the most physically fit people. They haven't taken care of their bodies and stuff like that.
That's
And
such an
honestly,
issue.
I feel like they've been lasting a long time, and I don't know how, but I'm grateful. I'm
Girl.
grateful. But yeah, I don't know.
Is this something that you are actively worrying about now? Like,
I think more recently, yes, I'm actively worried about because like there's been too many close calls
mhm,
and it's like, okay, this could be a reality, right? And then
mhm.
I live all the way across the
The
coast
country.
and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, Raven, come home, like visit. And I'm not a person that goes home a lot or whatever. So it's like I feel it's expensive to fly across the country. And like I do feel an eagerness to have to go home because I don't know if that's the last time I'll see them, like my
Mhm.
grandparents or whatever. So
And that's an actual like possibility, is what you're saying. Like
mhm.
that's something that y'all are actively like aware of at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
That's a lot, and that's the scary part about it. And I think too, for your specific like situation with your grandparents and your mom, that if something was to happen to one of your grandparents, like you would really have to be an emotional support system for your mom in a
Mhm.
huge way. And
Child.
I
I
can I
after
can see that taking a huge toll on you, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just taking a huge toll on you. And a lot of that I think has to do not with just like the, I guess, the caretaker part of it, but also your mom's relationship with her parents.
mhm.
Mhm.
I think has a lot to do with it. I think maybe there's a little bit of stuff that needs to be worked on within their relationship, especially with your mom and your grandmom.
That's
With
not about to get worked on at this.
They have an issue too.
Oh, my mom has hella trauma from her mother. Like,
Okay.
definitely mommy issues for sure.
So so it's important. You're saying it would be effective in helping her grieve after her own mom passes if they could like start
if
working
they could fix those
that stuff
issues,
out.
which
That
brings me
ain't
to the
happening. She's
girl.
letting you know that is not happening right now. Like they've tried, they've discuss some things. People are avoidant. Like,
Mhm.
it's not happening. Like, at this point, at this juncture, they're not solving anything. The least that they can do is just kind of be there for each other in the moment. Like, the past shit, not happening. Nothing's being resolved.
But that brings me to the one episode that we did, the Meet Me at the Crossroads episode, where we were talking about like the death doulas
Mm-hmm.
and having those people there for like, when people are getting sick and it's kind of, you can see the end of the road for a specific family member, and having that person come in to help deal with those type of things and help deal with
Absolutely.
like, y'all might have had some issues in the family that need to be resolved before this person transitions, or at least try to come to like some type of solution before it's
I
too
need
late.
a death doula.
No.
That sound bomb and effective.
Which I was gonna send you. I meant to send you.
Mhm.
There's this episode where we have a whole episode called "Meet You at the Crossroads," where we talk about death and like having a death doula. You have the birth doula and then there's the death doula.
That's
But they
the essential
prepare
one.
you.
Right.
They prepare you for death, and they let you know not to grieve someone's death before it actually happens, because then
Correct.
you got to do it twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So why are we doing that? No.
Okay.
But they essentially prepare you, whether it be the financial aspects, emotional aspects, and stuff like that, and they walk you through before the death and even after the death.
At what point in one's journey do you hire the death doula? Like, I didn't know. Like, do you have to wait until they're like in the hospital?
No,
and like it's like
No,
so.
no, I don't think that it has to be to the point where like it's about to happen. I think that you should probably actually start a little
You start
sooner than that, because these are things that don't happen overnight, and you don't want to feel rushed or anything
Right.
during that process. But they're there to basically help set up the legalities, the wills,
I'm
the
looking at that.
insurance,
Because
all of these
it's
different things.
inevitable. Like, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
So honestly, yeah, I feel like, especially at our parents' age at this point, like, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So it doesn't technically matter when you hire a death doula.
Yeah, because we in the stage. We
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, I really thank you. I needed that piece of information.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
definitely look that up. Hopefully, it's covered by Medicare.
I don't know, because our birth doulas, I don't know.
No,
Are
girl,
they?
that's out of pocket. Any
I don't
doula
think
is
so.
out
I
of
think
pocket.
that's something that is out of
I
pocket.
doubt.
When
Yeah.
we move to Mexico, we gonna have to be able to do
Yeah,
Yeah.
try to find somebody there.
that. Oh my god.
So to start wrapping this up, some tips. So one thing that I did find, and I think I heard you two actually maybe talking about it, was support groups for
Mhm.
caregivers.
Yes.
I think that for someone who maybe can't afford therapy or can't find the time to fit in therapy, or whatever the case is, another resource would be a support group of other caregivers. There was a group called the Benty Circle. They're actually here in Baltimore. And it's basically a support group for Black women who are caregivers.
Oh.
Yeah, and they have different fundraising events, different things. They have a website where you can donate. It's called Binti Circle, BINTI Circle, for the people that are in the DMV area. But they have other
I was
support
like,
groups. Yeah, they have other support groups. I'm sure you can find something probably in Mexico whenever you guys move.
Maybe they
That
have
might be
one that
helpful.
could be connected in Atlanta.
yeah, we got
Mhm.
Maybe.
But they have different programs, different events for the women who support their parents or just other elder people in their families and things like that. And they also take donations, and the donations go to some of the members in the family for like a spa day, or a vacation, or whatever the case is, to help them alleviate some of that stress that they take on from being a caregiver. So definitely, if you are in this phase of life where you're having to care for parents or grandparents, like, look out for support groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I received one piece of advice too from somebody that was a coworker.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me it's kind of out there, and it actually has not worked yet, but I'm still hopeful. He said, everyone's an actress. You can be an actress. Like, She is your mom, but prepare yourself before you get ready to go into stressful situations by putting on a character. And maybe today you'll be Jessica instead of Lauren, and this is not your mom. And because you are a compassionate person at heart, and you can be compassionate to someone who is not like tied to your identity, you can give them more compassion if they're just an older lady who's got dementia and who is suffering from this condition, who can't walk. You can go in there as maybe Jessica, the healthcare worker, and it doesn't matter what she says to you, because you can be like, oh, it's okay. Come on, let's get you together. It's okay. Nurse Jessica, yeah. And just separate yourself in those moments from that, and just think of yourself as that, in order to like let the moment pass, so that you can go through it and not do that avoidance stuff like sleep in the car, or like act out in other ways. And I was like, that's a really good idea, and it's not for everybody. It certainly hasn't been for me yet, but the idea of it is amazing.
It's there.
Yeah,
it's there. I've even thought about it, and
I'm
like
try it.
just my regular ass relationship with my mom.
A
like,
phone call. You can pretend on a phone now.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, so
that would be dry.
Right. Okay, let's pretend today. Let's give yes.
Yeah.
That was my little piece of advice, and I'm grateful.
That's a good tip. And it might work for somebody out there for real while you playing.
It might work, yeah. Let us know.
I hope it worked for you. Okay, Miss Nurse Jessica, or whoever you choose to be.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I would like to say thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. I know this will help a lot of people. We don't have a lot of listeners, but
amen. Yes, we do.
We will have a lot of listeners, and this will help somebody. And for me, like, having this show is very therapeutic, where we get to release and talk about whatever, whenever, because honestly, we don't even realize our audience until people are reaching back out to us and saying how it has helped them. But I appreciate it.
Hug, and then we're gonna give you a virtual hug, Kay.
Just bring it in. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. Cheers. Ding. Cheers. Thank you so much. Some alkies. For joining us this week. We will have you back at some point in the future.
Absolutely. On a positive note.
In 2024, when I'm on the other side.
When you ain't on the other
side. Gonna do no shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's it for this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in to You Need a Therapist podcast. We're happy to be back, and we will see you guys next week. Bye. Not okay, y'all in sync. Peace sign. Throw them up.
Bye.
Bye.